Hiya folks, hope you're all doing well. Just smoking a little Jermaine's Rich Dark Flake in the Peterson 302. Yeah, Peterson 302 I think it is. Tobacco that I do not smoke enough of. So apologies that you're in my office once again. I did actually record a video from out in the woods a couple of weeks back. I was out for the night, and I did a video on getting outside and mental health, mental well-being. But I decided not to upload it, which is often the case with a lot of the videos that I do these days. And I find that more and more as I get older, I have less and less to say. And it's not because I don't have opinions, because I certainly do. Eddie, go and lie down. Dog's already had a treat, he's now hassling me for a second one. But it's more because I think the older you get, you realise, the more you realise that wisest is he who knows that he knows nothing. And the more you live, the more you realise that all of that bravado and cocksureness, surety that you're right, kind of disappears. And you realise that actually the world's a big place, and everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got a right to have an opinion, and everyone's got something to say. And more often than not, they're not going to listen to you. So I kind of got to a point in my life which is a lot like George Carlin did, the great American comedian, sadly no longer with us. But I'll put a link in the bucket in the box below this video to an interview with him where he talks about how it was very liberating for him to almost step away from society, from feeling like you were invested in society, and really just sort of witness it as an outsider, so to speak. There's a lot of peace that comes with that. You realise you can't do anything to change anything. You're not going to change anything. Well, the world is fucking crazy, and it's better really to sit back and watch it all. Watch it all from elsewhere. Anyway. But I kind of felt compelled to make this video because I feel like I do have a dog in this fight by virtue of my gender. Because I am a man. Whatever the fuck that means. And there's this phenomenon that's been going on for quite a few years now, I've noticed it. But it's actually become really quite big, and that's this sort of this crisis in male identity. Really, I should say it's a crisis amongst a certain kind of male, because the people who seem to think that there is a crisis in male identity all seem to be white, Christian, and mostly American and right-wing. But there's plenty of them here as well in the UK. It's not just an American phenomenon, but it's definitely much a white man phenomenon, and it's very much a Christian white man phenomenon. And I think it's probably, well, I know why it's come about. It's because there's been talk in the mainstream media now for quite a few years where the issue of inclusiveness for transgender people has you know, come to the forefront, and that's threatened a lot of people. Like I say, a lot of people from this one particular male demographic, and it's frightened them into making a backlash. That's made its way into the YouTube pipe community, which is understandable, I suppose, because I think a lot of, dare I say, very misguided young men think they perhaps get into this pipe smoking hobby because they think it makes them somehow more of a man. It's seen as being a very masculine thing, the same as having a beard is seen as being a very masculine thing. Smoking a pipe's a man thing. Well, that's bollocks. Because there are plenty of women out there who are smoking and enjoying pipes as well. What kind of a bullshit is that? Oh, goodness. Where's that attitude come from? It's a pipe. You put tobacco in it, you smoke it. It's as simple as that. Like Freud said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. It does not make you more of a man. But there's this sudden sort of surge in channels knocking out videos about being a man and what being a man is all about. And yeah, I mean, even channel names, I'm sure I'll probably get some backlash for this, but you know, I keep having these channels pop up in my feed, in my suggestions from the algorithm, people calling themselves Becoming a Man or Listen My Son, as if those guys have some great wisdom to impart on all of us. Well, to my mind, anybody who says that they do is selling you snake oil. Because there isn't a crisis of masculinity, there never has been. Transgender people have been around for a long time. And the fact that we're talking about it now and we are being a little more inclusive about it now is a good thing, in my opinion. But it doesn't. It hasn't stopped anyone being a man, to the best of my knowledge. You know, I don't feel any less of a man myself, just because there's somebody else who doesn't identify as one. It's none of my fucking business. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. And it shouldn't bother you. I've been to parts of the world, particularly Melanesia, parts of Melanesia and the Pacific Islands, where transgender people have existed and been accepted for a very long time, a lot longer than in white Western Christian society. And while we're on that note, you have heard of the Greeks, right? And the Romans. The existence of and inclusion of transgender people, people of colour, gay people, the LGBTQ community, anybody who wants to identify themselves as a single fucking thing, does not impact you in the slightest. It is none of your goddamn business. Now, I understand, I get it, it's a bit scary, you know, you don't really know, you don't, maybe you're a little bit intimidated by the terminology. You know, I don't understand the terminology. I don't get it half the time either. I don't know whether or not to call somebody them, they, or whatever the hell else. You know what, I'm gonna call people whatever they want me to call them. You know, it's as simple as that. I don't care whether or not they've got a dick. You know, it's not a problem. So yeah, what is a problem is when somebody sets themselves up as some kind of guru or some kind of wise person who has all of the answers as to you know, what a man is, what being a man is. Because that person's a snake oil salesman and they're talking bullshit. And yes, I'm going to call these people out for it. I am sick to death of flicking open my YouTube and coming on to watch some video about pipe smoking, and it's just some fucking white Christian guy in the States prattling on about how he doesn't feel like men are men anymore. Fuck off, would you? Jesus Christ. Just get over yourselves, guys. Oh. I'm going to take this phone call. I'll be right back. Alrighty, folks. Sorry about the interruption there. My good lady managed to drive her car into a hedgerow in one of the little country lanes nearby me yesterday and completely trashed her wheel. So I have been scuttling around all morning trying to find a new one for her. Which is a lot easier said than done. It turns out we've got to order one from Italy and it's going to be 10 days. So in the meantime, I've got to find a space saver wheel or something else that I can bang onto her car, because of course they don't include a spare wheel with new cars anymore. Imagine that. Anyway, where were we? Talking about manliness, being men. It's a load of old bollocks, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, the reason I'm making this video, I think, is because, like I said at the beginning, I do feel like I have a dog in this fight because I'm a bloke. And because I think as a bloke, I need to stand up and be counted and say, all of you guys out there who are following this kind of very dangerous narrative that that somehow you're under threat, your masculinity is under threat because there's transgender recognition now, or that there are people living lifestyles that you don't agree with. I think it's a dangerous attitude to have, and I do not count myself amongst you. And that most certainly does not make me any less of a man in your own terminology. There's a lot of people out there who are basically they're there for their own agenda. You know, they're trying to sell you something. I was doing a little bit of research into one of these guys in particular, who's in the YouTube pipe community. I won't mention their name specifically, but they talk about a lot of this bullshit on their channel. And they're literally a life coach. They're trying to sell you something. They're trying to sell you something. Can you understand that? People who propagate these ideas of difference between us are people who profit from them. And unfortunately, there's a lot of gullible people out there, a lot of young men with no life experience who are going to follow the Andrew Tates of this world or the Jordan Petersons of this world. Who are exponents of a very dangerous narrative that will bring nothing but more division and more problems, and ultimately aggression and violence towards those people who do not follow or conform to a standardized idea of what a man is. And that's a very, very dangerous thing. So that's about it. I'll wrap it up. So I've gone on long enough. That is a damn fine tobacco. Really, just astounding. Whew. I can't believe I don't smoke it more often. I've got this jar that's been maturing in my tobacco cupboard right there behind me for a couple of years now. It's just sublime, right down to the very bottom of the bowl. Absolutely perfect. Anyway, on that note, folks, go live your life, be good to each other, don't get involved in what's not your business. Take care, folks.